We have installed everything about the Entity Framework core in our application. We have also set up the DB Context class, and we have also added a new class in this DB Context class. Now it is time to generate the database from this code. Let's open the SQL Server Management Studio. Here I am connected to my local server, and in the database section you can see we do not have any database with name Bookstore API. Let's refresh the changes of the database. Still we do not have any Bookstore API database. Now we have to create that database and the tables from our code directly. Let's see how to do that. To interact with the database from this code, we have to use some commands that are provided by the Entity Framework, and we can run these commands in the NuGet Package Manager console. At this place we can write a command related to Entity Framework code. As a first command, we have to add a new migration in this database. So here I can write add migration, give some space, and let's define a name to this migration. Let's say I'm writing init. Hit the enter button. Focus in the solution explorer of this application. Here we got a new folder with name migrations. Let's open the file and let's see what we got inside this migration. Here you can see that it has the same name that we have given in the add migration script, and it is inherited from this migration. Then it has two methods. First is up and second is down. And here in this up method you can see that we are creating a new table. The name of the table is books. It has 3 columns. These are 3 columns, and it also has a primary key. The primary key will be ID. By default, if you are having a column with name ID in your class, then it will be treated as the primary key for that particular table. Whenever you will make some change in your code that is related to the database, every time you have to generate a migration, and only by using this migration you can update your database. To update the database we have to use one more command, and the name is update database. Whatever changes we have in the migrations, all of them will be updated in the database. Let's hit the enter button. It is done. Let's save the changes. Let's open the SQL Server. Here just refresh the changes. And here you can see that we have a new database with name Bookstore API. Okay, the name of the database is misspelled, but do not worry about that. We have to focus on the concept. Let's see what tables we got in this database. As of now, we have 2 tables. First, let's open this books table. Inside the columns folder, you can see that we have 3 columns. First is ID, second is title, and third is description. Because the type of this ID property in the class was integer, that is why it is stated as an integer over here. And for the title and the description, we were having a string, that is why the type is n_varchar max. Now let's see what we got in this migrations history table. Let's right click on this one and choose select top 1000 rows. In the result window, you can see that this table has 2 columns. First is the migration ID and second is the product version. This is how this Entity Framework code tracks the migrations history. So suppose in future you are adding one more table in your application and you are updating your database, then there will be a new entry in this migration table. Now we have set up everything in this application. It is time to work with the web APIs.